And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagles with a Thursday night matchup against Southern Miss. The Eagles only one game into the Sun Belt schedule, but almost a must-win game for them if they want to have any chance of winning or playing for the Sun Belt Championship. The last time Georgia Southern was on the field was 2 weeks ago, where they lost 35-10 to James Madison in a game in which they gave up over 300 yards on the ground. The defense continuing to struggle, both giving up points, giving up yardage, and not getting pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. As for the offense, they were unable to get things going on the ground, only rushed for 27 yards, gave up 7 sacks and 10 hits for losses in that game. They're really going to have to turn things around this week against Southern Miss, who have Marshall's head coach and 21 players and 10 coaches that were with him, Charles Huff, at Marshall last year. That game taking place Thursday night, 8 o'clock, we had a chance to talk with Coach Helton and a couple of players about how they feel they can turn things around against Southern Miss. We also have high school previews to bring you. The Statesboro Blue Devils coming off an exciting victory on the road at Lakeside. Finally get a chance to come back home to Womack Field. They'll have their hands full with top 10 ranked Brunswick. That game at 7:30. We had a chance to talk with head coach of the Blue Devils, Matt Dobson, and a couple players about that game and how they've been playing. They're right now 4-2 overall and 3-1 in region play. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they were able to rebound from a tough 10-7 loss at Liberty. Their third road game of the season in a row, is coming up this Friday, as they coming off a big win where they scored 55 points in the first half and beat Groves 55-16. This week, big game at Jenkins in Savannah. Jenkins undefeated in region play right now on top. Southeast wants a chance to maybe have the 2 or 3 seed. They're going to have to take care of Jenkins on the road. We talked to Jared Zito and a couple of his players about the game. As for the Bulloch Academy Gators, they continue to roll 50 points this past week in a big win against Hilton Head Christian. Thursday night on the road, opening up region play at Frederica. We heard from Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about the matchup and how they've been playing. All that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. Northside Drive behind Remax Eagle Creek Realty. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles going into Thursday night's matchup with Southern Miss, 2-3 on the season. Right now, under head coach Clay Helton, they are 500, 22-22. We had a chance to talk with him at the press conference about the game with Southern Miss, as well as the current state at Georgia Southern as far as their football situation.
Really good week for our football team, a much needed week, in 2 areas. One, to be able to address some areas of improvement that we really need going from, the last game into this national TV game against a really good quality opponent like Southern Miss. Defensively, it's about stopping the run right now, and we've focused really hard on that over the last, couple extra days of practice that we've been given in 3 areas. One, really setting the edge on defense. 2, being gap sound amongst the D-line and the linebacker area, and then really improving our second and third level tackling. Being on an 11-day cycle, it's given us the opportunity to put us in some live work with some live tackling situations, both team and individual, which has been really nice. Offensively, it's been about supporting our quarterback. We had done a really nice job in the 2 previous games of scoring 41-plus points, and that was because of a really good run game that that provided great protection for our quarterback. We did not do that effectively against JMU. And so we've really focused on that going into this game, shoring up some one-on-one pass protection responsibilities as well as some communication with offensive line and running backs that we can do better with going into this game. And then special teams-wise, it really was about our kickoff. We provided some competition this week. Evan had been doing a really nice job up until the last 3 kicks, and then all of a sudden fades a ball that creates a non-offensive touchdown. And so we opened that competition up between Evan and TJ, put them in some real pressure situations. Evan has won that job. Again, has the opportunity to walk out there first with TJ as the reliever, just in case things go awry. But it was good to see his confidence back and be able to put him in that situation. The other thing that really helped us too, obviously, when you have 11 days, gets your body a little bit fresher in between games. It had been 9 weeks of football, 4 training camp weeks, and 5 games. And so to be able to just get a little bit of freshness has been nice. I thought we had our best practice yesterday, which was a full pad practice on Sunday, a really Tuesday format with this Thursday game format. And so it was good to see their freshness about. Now it's about playing Southern Miss, and what a great team they are. Got a lot of respect for Coach Huff and the job he does. Blake Anderson coming on board as the offensive coordinator is doing a terrific job with Braylon Braxton, being able to spread that offense out, multiple weapons, and defensively really causing havoc. You look at them, and they've got 10 turnovers on the year, creating 2 a game right now, 15 sacks on the year, creating 3 sacks a game. And really you combine those 2, and that's why, you've seen the early success that they've had. Second conference game for both of us on national TV, a blew-out game right here at Paulson Stadium on a Thursday night. Going to be pretty special.
Yeah, Coach, big picture here. Right now, 4 years in, your current record is 500. Coming into when you took over, Jared Benko had fired Chad Lunsford, 7-win season, and said 7-5 is not acceptable here at Georgia Southern. Right now, the 3 games that you guys have lost haven't been very competitive in. We just saw Georgia State hang with James Madison all the way. What do you feel the confidence level for Eagle Nation right now should be, and why?
Yeah, fair question, Josh. Appreciate that question, by the way. Coming out of JMU, I know there's frustration with Eagle Nation, and it's well-deserved. And we were frustrated coming out of that game. You just had back-to-back 40-point games offensively. You come off 2 home wins. You're really starting to trajectory upward, and then it goes down. And so our job, and when you get into these situations, I always lean on the good book. I'm a Christian. I believe in that, and Jesus says, once you put your hand on the plow, that you're looking forward and you're living a life of Christ. You don't look back. You don't look back at past habits. You don't look back at regrets, but you focus on Him. That's always also a great lesson and analogy when you're doing your job too. As good as a reporter as you are, a journalist you are, I can't be concerned about what you write or what you're doing, as good as it is. And with Eagle Nation, as much as I love them, I want that opportunity. I know by winning games, it's going to make them happy. And even when you win games in 30 years, I've found out that you can't make everybody happy. So as a coach, just like I make the main thing in my spiritual life, it's the same thing in my football life. I got my hands on the plow, and I worry about the number one thing, and that's the men in the locker room. That's the coaches. That's the players, because you're driving to take them and make them better, all right? And I've always believed in taking a product and making it better. When we came on board, it was a 3-win football team. You look, we've been to 3 postseason plays. We're not halfway through the season yet, and we've got the opportunity to continue to grow. I look forward to having the opportunity. Can you imagine for Dalen Cobb and Pishon Wembley and Justin Myers and those guys that have been here multiple years? They can be the first players ever in Georgia Southern to go to 4 straight bowl games. They've got a chance to go play in the first conference championship game if we go do our job, build confidence, and keep going. So I know where we are right now, and I know it produces frustration because we did not play Georgia Southern football in the last game. But I look forward to the next opportunity to make that happen, and I look forward to the trust of building continued trust with Eagle Nation as we hopefully prepare and keep going to our 4th postseason.
But is bowl games the ultimate goal or winning a championship?
No, championship is always here, Josh. I've said that from day one, always. I look forward to having the opportunity where that is the standard each and every year, And I look at the guys and what they've done in their time here, to be able to talk about going to 4 straight bowl games, man, that's a special thing. But also, putting us as a conference contender. We did that last year. We're in our second conference game this year against a really good opponent on national TV, and we're focused on that. I've always been about believing in being in the moment and trying to go 1-0 on the week and working as hard as you can on that, And so that's always a huge challenge, especially for young people. Especially for players, young coaches, is making sure that you don't get caught in all the noise or anything else, but you keep the main thing. Keep your hands on the plow. Keep focused. Go do your job at a high level. Go get 1-0 this week. And then we'll turn a page and we'll try to do it again the next week. But if you worry about everything else, you're not gonna do your job.
Okay, well, getting into the game this week.
Yeah.
One of the areas that you guys have struggled with, which I imagine, even though it's a passing attack that you're going up against, you've got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. You haven't been able to do that this year. Is that something that you guys addressed? Because right now you're second to last in the nation in sacks.
Yeah, a lot of that happens when a lot of folks are running the ball on you more, and there's not as many opportunities. We have addressed some areas that we needed help. The number one area was the run game. We also addressed some one-on-one pass rush that I thought offensively we lost some battles one-on-one against some really good players at JMU, and so we had head-to-head competition, both O-line, D-line, and some one-on-one pass rush this week. We've made everything basically live pass rush this week, working what we call our iron periods, which is iron sharpens iron. So it is our 1 and 2 defense against each other, servicing each other to create valuable pass rush opportunities. And then when you have a team that throws the ball around a little bit more, hopefully you're getting to the quarterback. And we probably the biggest challenge this week, Josh, is Braylon, to be honest with you. The amount of times that he breaks out of sack opportunities is going to be really important to us, not only to get home, but to get him on the ground. We have, and I appreciate the question, we have worked extremely hard in that area this week with some true live-on-live competition, and hopefully it carries over to Thursday night.
Well, the Eagle players holding themselves accountable. We had a chance to talk with defensive back Chance Gamble and offensive lineman Caleb Cook on the offense and defensive side of things as they enter this game with Southern Miss. Caleb, you guys have had a little time to work on things. The last game against James Madison was the first game where you guys really looked a little vulnerable up front. You gave up 7 sacks, 10 hits for losses. What did you guys do this week to kind of fix or address these issues? And how are you guys feeling going into Southern Miss?
Got you. How we feeling going into Southern Miss? We feeling good. Like all the problems that we had, we already addressed it. One of the main things was communication, not only up front, but between like the O-line and the running backs, and we already addressed that. Like basically right after the game, a few days after we came up, watched film, sat together, got through all the tape, all the miscues, everything up front. And then another thing that was happening, just some of us was like kind of losing one-on-ones. And when you play good players, that happens. It's just as Coach said, like that's going to happen. You're going to get that. And the main thing that we got to focus on, and any offensive lineman got to focus on, is one thing to lose one-on-ones, but just you got to make sure you're all tied on one level, like on the same page, and that's communication, that's pass pro, and even in the run game, y'all got to make sure y'all on the same page. And one of the main things that we did is, just as Coach said, we worked a little bit more pass rush, like live action and stuff like that this week, and that really helped because that gets you back in the field of it's not just practice or anything like that. It's like actual one-on-one pass rusher on the island. Sometimes in the game, sometimes you can have help, you can have this, but in that situation, it's truly one-on-one, like who's going to be the better player. And we did that, and I feel like that helped us a lot.
You got a little bit behind the 8 ball right now as you lost that first Sun Belt game. Is there the pressure, the urgency that we can't go 0-2 with this win here, or the game rather on Saturday or Thursday?
Got you. When it comes to games like that, honestly, every single game we play, especially when you're in conference, every game, you can't lose it. Like, that's how we go in thinking. And even though we started behind the 8 ball, we lost this game, we can't think about not what happened last week. We already learned from our mistakes. We identified the problems. We corrected it. We learned from it. We're not going to make it again. And so we can't go into this game, especially against a good team like Southern Miss. And like I said, any other team that we're going to face for the rest of the year, we can't go into those games thinking like, oh, we messed up last week, or we did this last week, or we should have did this. All it is about is just correcting what you messed up, not doing it again, and just going 1-0 every week. That's all it is.
Defenses struggled in just about every area going into this game against Southern Miss. You guys had some time. Coaches mentioned it. Can you enlighten us on what kind of things you've been doing defensively to shore up where you've had your issues?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing for us defensively right now is you could sit here and you can blame the scheme, you can blame the coaches for this and that, but it ain't about that. It's about being where we're supposed to be and making the play when it's presented to us. And that's what we haven't been doing a good job of, just straight up right now. We're not tackling the ball well, and we're not, being gap sound in our assignments. So this week we really, we took a step back as far as like, all right, let's get back to our fundamentals. Let's get back to what we do. Let's get back to playing fast and running to the ball. And ever since we did that this week, introduced some tackling drills to just help with the tackling piece. And I think we've taken steps in the right direction, and hopefully that's going to show on the field come Thursday. It was a tough process just having to sit out. I hate sitting out. I hate watching from the sideline. But being able to come back and not only come back as a player but as a leader as well has been extremely good for me. I feel confident right now, and I'm ready to roll.
Again, that game taking place at 8 o'clock. We'll have highlights later on in the evening at statesboroherald.com. Stay with us. Plenty more to come as we get into our high school previews. Gerard Pre-Owned of Statesboro voted best place to buy a pre-owned vehicle 12 years running. 3 decades of experience in serving our community. Locally owned and operated, every vehicle undergoes rigorous multi-point inspections and thorough reconditioning. Flexible financing for all credit types, whether you're starting fresh or building credit, they've got you covered. Experience the Gerard difference today. 2330 Northside Drive West in Statesboro. Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils, 4-2 overall, 3-1 in region play, right on the precipice of having their first winning season since 2013. They're going to have their hands full on Friday night as they'll be hosting top 10 ranked Brunswick, and they'll still be without their starting quarterback, Beckham Gerard. We had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dobson and a couple players about how they feel about this game coming up and how they've been playing this year. Well, Coach, coming off a huge win on the road at Lakeside, reflecting back on that game, you've had a chance to look at some of the video. What do you feel like you guys did well on both sides of the ball in order to pull off that win?
Yeah, I think we just stayed in the fight was the biggest thing. We certainly did not play our best game from an execution standpoint. Turned the ball over a couple times. Was proud of our offense. Had no penalties. I think that's the first time all season we've had 0 penalties on the offensive side of the ball. So that was a positive. Defensively, we forced 2 turnovers, which were big. But once again, we just didn't execute real well. But our guys just stayed in the fight and just made enough plays that we needed to down the stretch to find a way to win. And that's what we got to do is just continue to find ways to win. As we try to. Get this program turned around. We've talked about that a lot. Just finding ways. We're certainly not. We're not good enough yet to go blow everybody out by 50 points. But our guys are tough and they're going to stay in the fight. And that's what it's all about. Winning's contagious, and we just need to keep finding ways to win and build off that. Lakeside
knew that Beckham wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
Stacked the box against you, and you had to find ways to work around that. Now this week you've got Brunswick. They're probably going to do much of the same with better athletes. How do you go about game planning for Brunswick?
Yeah, it's certainly a tremendous challenge. They're big up front on defensive line, and and very athletic. They do a good job of not giving up many big plays, and so the key for us is just going to be to stay on schedule. You know, be 4 yards on first down, getting to 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. And just open up opportunities for our offense to stay on the field. Doesn't have to be big plays. We'll be satisfied with just grinding out first downs. And then the biggest part, you know, last year we gained a lot of yards rushing the football against these guys. We just didn't finish in the red zone. So that's going to be a big emphasis this week is if we can drive the football and get in the red zone, we got to finish when we get down there. You know, last year ran for over 200 yards. And every time we got down there, came away with no points. And so certainly got to finish in the red zone. But you know, there'll be some things we do formationally and you know, unique formations that we get into to try to create an advantage, numbers advantage to run the football.
With this momentum that you have right now, 3-1 in region play, are you seeing the kids, you know, even buying in more and having some more faith as you go into a David versus Goliath kind of situation with the top 10 ranked team?
Yeah, I think you do see it. You know, on the sidelines, you know, Friday night was evident, right? There was nobody was, you know, arguing and complaining, and everybody just, you know, lifting each other up and saying we're going to find a way to win the football game. I thought it was evident at halftime when we were down, you know, down 6 points at halftime. It was everybody. You know, you truly got the sense in the locker room. Everybody believed we were going to win the football game. So there's a better belief system than we've had in the past. And certainly that's going to, you know, come into play Friday night. Brunswick's going to make plays. They scored on everybody they've played this year. They've had over 500 yards of offense in all but 2 of their wins. And those 2 wins were 65-0 and 42-0. They didn't need the offense to play as well. So their offense is going to make plays. They're going to hit big plays. We just got to stay in the fight like we did, you know, last week, and just play a cleaner game offensively. Need to do what we did defensively with some turnovers, create those, and then play a little bit better on special teams. We obviously got to make a game-changing play on special teams, whether that's returning a kick, blocking a kick, you know, recovering an onside kick, something of that nature. We got to do, you know, every little thing right and just be in the fight there in the fourth quarter.
We're here with Statesboro High defensive lineman Brandon Taylor. And Brandon, how do you feel like you guys are playing right now? Where do you feel like you guys are doing well?
Well, I feel that we're playing good. I feel like this year we're playing for each other and not just for ourselves and for stats. I feel like we're going to make it all the way. We could make it all the way.
How big was that win for you guys this past Friday? You had to come back from behind and win in overtime.
It was a very big win for us. I felt like we didn't give up on each other. Like, I think past years we would have gave up and probably lost, but this year we wanted it for each other. And I feel like our people who aren't seniors wanted it for us as well.
Well, this week you got a big step up in competition. You've got Bradwell. They're ranked in the top 10 right now.
Brunswick.
I said Bradwell. You're right. There you go. Brandon, this week you've got a top 10 ranked team in Brunswick coming here to your house. You know, you played them last year. What do you think about them? What do you think you have to do to win this game?
I think they're a good team. I feel like going against Brunswick, they're a run-heavy team, and I feel like our box, we have one of the greatest boxes, and I feel like we could stop them from the run game, so they'll have to pass.
Good to have this game here at home?
I think so. Our crowd is very good, and our band has gotten better as well, and they cheer us on.
Here with Statesboro High offensive lineman Chandler Tyson, and Chandler coming off a big win this past week at Lakeside. Tell me what you feel like you guys did well, and what were the keys to that win?
We did well with a good win. Offensive line working all together, wide receivers, running backs, just playing as a team. And then defense, they stepped up at the end.
Where do you see the biggest strides you guys have made in the last couple weeks?
Just playing with each other. You know, last year we didn't really play with each other, but this year we made it a goal to play with each other.
This week you've got a top 10 team coming to Walmart Field. You've got Brunswick, and you know how good they are. What do you feel like you're going to have to do in order to win this game on Friday?
Last year we played them. It was tough. It was tough. But this year they're still a good team. We just got to start and run first.
What do you feel like you have to do on offense?
Just making the right calls, making sure everybody doing their job, and making sure everybody's straight.
All right.
This is Paul Newman, owner and broker of Statesboro Real Estate. I have been in the business over 20 years and completed well over 1,000 transactions, helping buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the home buying process. One of the things that sets us apart is our tie to the university. I'm the official real estate agent of Georgia Southern Athletics. With our team of experienced brokers and agents and our online presence, we can help you navigate any deal. Along with Statesboro Real Estate, I'm the co-owner of PMG Rentals, where we manage over 1,300 properties, improving the lives of investors and tenants since 2009. Whether you're looking to rent, buy, or sell, make sure you call Paul.
At Pope Construction, we've been trusted to build Southeast Georgia for over 50 years. Family owned and operated, we take pride in delivering quality projects on time, every time. From schools to churches and government facilities, our team is committed to integrity, excellence, and building relationships in the communities we serve. Learn more at popeconstructionco.com. Well, the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, with a great opportunity ahead of them, they're going to have their hands full, though, coming off a big win, 55-16 at Groves. For the third week in a row, they'll be on the road, and this time it's in a very tough environment, going to Jenkins to take on the Jenkins Warriors. We had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito and a couple of his players about the matchup. Here with Southeast Bulloch head coach Jared Zito, and coach, coming off a big win this past week, scored over 50 points in the first half, got a chance to play youngsters and rest your starters, which is big for you as you enter this week with Jenkins.
Yeah, really proud of the way our guys responded last Friday after we had a big disappointing loss the week before against Liberty, but our guys came out against Groves, played really fast again, played really confident, looked like they were having fun. That was kind of the message we sent them all day on Friday, and it was good to see that. And then always good to play other guys, get guys some varsity experience, whether that is for maybe potentially later this year or always building for the future.
So you go into this Jenkins game with a lot on the line. How are you approaching this week?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about, bring the same guts you brought with you when we played Calvary and just execute a little better, and you got a chance. If they're a good football team, they're big up front, the offensive line, they've got really good skilled kids with the ball in their hands. We've got to do a great job of playing with great leverage and tackling in space. And then offensively, the secret for us is always, don't turn the ball over or limit those best we can. Stay in front of the chains and dictate the game as we want to do it. I think if we can do those things, it'll be a really good game, and we'll have an opportunity to win in the fourth quarter.
You played with them last year. You had it within a touchdown, and it kind of got away from you in that one. What do you feel like you guys learned from that game taken into this week?
Well, I think right now the big thing between last year and that game and our Calvary game this year is our guys believe they can compete with the top teams in our region, and those two certainly are. So in terms of trying to sell it to them, I don't think we have to sell it to them. Now, whether we win the game or not, it comes down to the same old, coach speak words, physicality, effort, and execution. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see our guys perform in a really big game on a really big stage. I told them yesterday, I said, as much as we love winning games like Friday, and that's a lot of fun for everybody, if you're a true competitor as a player or coach, these kind of games are the ones you really look forward to.
We're here with DJ Brooks from Southeast Bulloch, and DJ, coming off a big win this past week. You got to do quite a bit personally. What was it like to be able to score on offense and defense?
I just came out with a great mindset to play, and once I saw the ball, I saw what I had to do, and I just got the things done that I needed to do.
What do you feel like your role is on the team?
I don't really have a role. I feel like I just do whatever I need to help our team win. I do whatever I could do just to make us a good team.
What do you feel like the strengths are of the team right now?
I feel like our strengths are just we are very consistent in what we do. We work hard, really hard in the weight room, and we go out and we play good.
Well, you've got a good challenge ahead of you this Friday, a big step up in competition. You've got Jenkins, and there's a lot on the line. How are you feeling about this game?
I feel good. I feel like we all gonna go out and execute. I feel like we all gonna go out and play good and play best.
What do you feel like you have to do against Jenkins to come out with a win?
we just got to go out and punch it in their mouth right away. We just got to go out, play our best football, because it's going to be probably our toughest team that we're going to play all season. So we just got to play as good as we can.
We're here with Southeast Bulloch lineman Herman Marsh, and Herman coming off a big win this past week. How are you feeling the team is doing on offense and defense right now?
I feel like we're doing exactly what we're coached to do. We have some slip-ups every now and then, but that's just what's expected because none of us can be perfect. But we're clicking on all cylinders.
Where do you feel like the improvement has been coming recently?
I feel like it's coming from a bunch of people gaining more experience in what we're doing, and then a bunch of people who are also believing in what they're coached to do and starting to believe it more and more as we get deeper into the season.
All right, you got a big game coming up here Friday. You've got Jenkins at their place, a lot on the line. How are you guys feeling about the game?
As a competitor, as a bunch of competitors as we are, we love the matchup, and I feel like we're going to do as good as we can do, and that's what I got for that.
What do you feel like you have to do in order to win this game?
We just have to believe that we have to believe that we can do it, and we have to execute to the best of our abilities.
All right. Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators coming off another 50-point performance on their offensive side of the ball as they knocked off Hilton Head Christian this past Friday night. This week they open up region play, and it's a Thursday night affair over in St. Simons as they take on Frederica. We had a chance to talk with Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about the matchup. Well, Coach, coming off that victory over Hilton Head Christian, your assessment now that you've had a chance to look back on it, and then looking forward to this week on Friday.
Yeah, Hilton Head does a great job of what they do. I mean, they really do throw the ball every play. And in high school, if that's what you're going to hang your hat on, then you're going to be pretty good at it. And I thought for the most part we played really, really good. I think we ended up with 5 or 6 picks Friday night, and that's big for our defense. A lot of takeaways. We were able to score on every offensive possession except for the one we took a knee on, and so offensively it's still kind of rolling and keeping our defense off the field. And every great defense has to have a great offense. I mean, I think those two go hand in hand. It keeps our guys off the field and keeps their offense on the sideline. So. They were able to get behind us a couple times. They had a couple kids that could run, and that's what they do. I mean, they throw a bunch of formations at you, and you're working those guys out pretty hard on Fridays when you face a team like that just because of what they do. I mean, they're stretching the field with receivers every single play. And so, unfortunately, I said this in one interview that, we got to be right every time. They only got to be right a handful of times. That was the tale of the game. I mean, for the most part, they didn't have a whole lot of offense, and then it was 3 or 4 big plays. So I think we got better. We played. You'd love to say you played 90% of the game pretty good, but unfortunately, when you play a team like that who throws the football as much as they do and takes that many shots, if they're throwing 60 balls downfield, and they catch 4, that's pretty good. But unfortunately, a lot of times those lead to points. So that helped us out as far as this week and as far as the playoffs and our opponents coming down the road. I think we'll be even better from having played them. So a lot of good things came out of that game.
This week, Thursday night, region game down in Frederica, taking on Frederica Academy. How are you feeling about that? What do you feel like you got to do to win?
Man, I think this is going to be one of those old-fashioned kind of hate games. They, for some reason they don't like us, and they kind of call this hate week down there, and so we both want to do the same thing. They want to run the football out of spread formation. We want to run the football out of flex bone, and so it's going to come down to who's more physical up front. Who blocks and tackles. I mean, and it's going to be a game that's probably going to go by pretty quickly. And over the last couple of years, we've been able to execute and score some points and get out of that thing with a win. And so, but anytime you have to go down there and play a good football team and travel, it's a long ride for us. I mean, our kids have got to be laser focused. I promise you they are. So it'll be a great game.
Here with Bulloch Academy offensive and defensive lineman Jack Lanier. And Jack, tell me a little bit about how you feel the team is looking right now on the offense and defensive sides of the ball.
I think we're looking good. On defense, we're starting to hit people and strike people, and I think it's helping us a lot.
Gave up a few big plays against Hilton Head Christian. You feel like that's something you guys got to cut down on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it wasn't for those big plays in that game, it looks a lot different, and we got to work on it this week.
You open up region play going on Thursday night down to St. Simon's to take on Frederica. How are you feeling about this game? What do you feel like you guys have to do to come out with a win?
I feel good about it. I think as long as we execute on offense and play good on defense and not give up big plays, and I think we're going to be all right.
What do you think you're doing particularly well on offense and defense?
Well, obviously the run game is always a big strength of ours, and I think we're running the ball great.
Here with Bulloch Academy running back Maddox Lee. And Maddox, you guys coming off a good performance this past week against Hilton Head Christian. You scored on pretty much every offensive possession you got. This week you open up region play with Frederica. First off, how do you feel like the offense is looking right now?
I think they're looking real good, and as long as we go out, Frederica's going to be the next tough team we got to play, so as long as we go out there and do our thing, I think we'll be all right.
What are the challenges with playing this game against them on their place on a Thursday night?
It's a big rivalry game, and as long as we just go out there and hit them in the mouth, we'll be good.
What do you feel like you guys have been doing particularly well on offense?
The O-line's been blocking their butts off and being able to get the big runs we need.
And one final note, the Portal Panthers in action coming up on Friday, heading down the road to Twin City to take on ECI. That'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.